Up with KREM begins now.
5:29 now. Well, today, Spokane native Steve Gleason is being awarded with a Congressional Gold Medal. What this momentous award means to some people in the Spokane community.
And this morning we are trading snow for some very cold temperatures. We are mainly in the teens and single digits to start off our Wednesday morning, but snow returns to the forecast late tonight into tomorrow.
And the Spokane County Sheriff says the new law is causing a big problem when it comes to investigating officer-involved shootings. How this law affected last week's officer-involved shooting.
5:30 now, and welcome back to Up with KREM. Great to have you with us here on our Wednesday morning. On and off this week, we've just seen the snow and the ice and a little bit of sun.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. We got the sun for a bit of the day the other day.
Yeah.
But today might bring a little bit more of the drier weather before more snow comes in late tonight into tomorrow.
So this is the day that we all need to shovel our driveways, right? Because it's not going to be pouring down on us as we're working?
Not during the day, but then you might be sad if you kind of shovel the driveway and then wake up tomorrow morning to 2 more inches of snow. But, I mean, hey, you got to take the good with the bad. Any break we can get is what we're going to be thankful for today. So for the day today, again, dry skies persist out there. Temperatures, though, very cold to start off the morning. Primarily temperatures in the teens, a couple single digits on there. We've got 16 degrees in Spokane right now, 15 in Ritzville, 7 degrees in Omak to start off the morning. Wenatchee, dangerously close to those single digits. They're at 11 degrees to start off the day. When you factor in wind chill, we're pretty much in the single digit territory across the board, and in some cases in the sub-zero territory. Wenatchee is at 0 degrees when you factor in wind chill. Omak, 10 below zero, 6 degrees in Moses Lake, 5 in Spokane. This is what it feels like when you walk out the door. So you want to bundle up once again. Watches and warnings leave out the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, but north of us we do see a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory. All of this in anticipation for the next storm. So you may remember just a couple days ago, most of our watches and warnings were kind of around the central and southern panhandle and just south of I-90. Instead, we're making the switch with this next storm system that comes through. Everywhere highlighted on your screen here in pink or blue is an area expected to be hit pretty hard by the next wave that comes through late tonight into tomorrow. So that's going to be the next wave. 12-hour forecast, though, keeps us dry all the way through the remainder of your day. It's not until we get to about 6, 7, 8 p.m. that we will start to see some of those snow showers arrive. That does mean if you have, say, a 7 p.m. commute time back home, you could start to encounter some snow flurries as you're driving home. However, it doesn't look like accumulations will really pick up until the overnight hours. I'll send things back to you, Jen.
Ivan, thank you. 32 minutes past the hour. Well, today, Spokane native Steve Gleason is being awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in Washington, D.C. This is the nation's highest civilian award. The gold medal is specially designed for Gleason. You might remember he was a standout for football at Gonzaga Prep, Washington State University, and the New Orleans Saints. Doctors diagnosed him with ALS in January 2011. And following that diagnosis, he formed Team Gleason. It's a nonprofit dedicated to raising awareness about ALS. He is the only former NFL player to ever receive this award. This morning, Mark Hanrahan is live in Washington, D.C. with special coverage on this historic day. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Jen. It really is incredible that Steve Gleason is receiving such a prestigious award. Of course, Gleason reached the pinnacle in sports. He played in the NFL for 8 years, but the award he's receiving in here today is for the work he accomplished after he retired from football, after he was diagnosed with ALS, and after he lost the ability to speak, to move, or to even breathe on his own. Now, earlier in this week, we spoke with Steve's high school football coach, H.T. Higgins. He says he's not surprised at all that Steve went on to advocate for ALS patients, and he is thrilled that Gleason is receiving this honor.
My relationship with Steve started in about 1991 when he first started at Gonzaga Prep. I was fortunate enough to coach Steve as a sophomore and a junior and a senior here at Gonzaga Prep in football, and then obviously followed him as his path continued through Washington State and then down to with the Saints. He is a big part of my inspiration and the inspiration of the football program and what he brings to helping develop young men that are see something bigger than themselves. Here's a guy that he can't move, he can't talk, other than via technology. He uses his eyes, his facial expressions, and then, his beautiful soul and his amazing mind. This is really a really special thing. And you're talking about people like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and the Dalai Lama and people like that. And Steve deserves to be in that group. He is rare. What's inside of a man he's really rare.
Now, to put this into context, fewer than 200 people have ever been awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, so this is a big deal. You heard that list on a couple of the past recipients, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, the Dalai Lama, so this is a huge deal. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll hear from one of Steve's childhood friends who also will be in attendance at the ceremony today. For now, reporting live at the Capitol, I'm Mark Hanrahan. Now back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. A beautiful morning in D.C. there. Well, a North Idaho man who was run over several times outside a Hayden gas station last month is still recovering. Steve Walson was walking in a gas station parking lot when a car plowed over him. Walson says the driver of the car said something to him before taking off. He was able to stand back up after the hit and run, but was in so much pain.
Wish it never would have happened. I hurt.
Well, the driver has not been arrested. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office has a person of interest in this case, and they've seized an SUV. Authorities say it could still be a couple of months before lab results come back. Following the death of WSU student Samuel Martinez, the WSU governing body of fraternities is creating new policies. One of the changes including making big little events alcohol-free and disciplining any chapter or individual possessing or consuming alcohol drinks above 15% alcohol by volume. They hope these changes will prevent any similar future tragedies. A vigil is being held today for 2 Oregon children who were swept out into sea last week. 7-year-old Lola Stiles and 4-year-old William Stiles got caught in a wave with their father while at the Oregon coast on January 4th. The father survived and is recovering from hypothermia. Lola died at the hospital and William is still missing and thought to be dead. A coastal community center is holding a vigil today and Vista Elementary School is having a vigil tomorrow. Well, that's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
5:37 now. Well, this morning we know the identity of the deputy involved in a deadly shooting. We tracked this last Friday as breaking news. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office identified him as Deputy Brent Miller. The Spokane Police Department is now heading that investigation. And this is the first police shooting investigation in our area to fall under a new state law. We looked into what that law means.
The rules concerning this new protocol are draconian.
Sheriff Ozzie Knezevich expressing his frustrations last week over new state regulations regarding deadly force. After a cop uses deadly force, there's always an investigation into whether it was justified. Under the new laws, a special investigative team is formed. It has to have 2 non-police advisors, and no one from the shooter's entire agency can participate in the investigation in any way. In Spokane, it's long been the case that other agencies would lead the inquiry, but they could still get help as needed.
The Sheriff's Office no longer has any ability to assist the City of Spokane or WSP in this investigation. So the full burden of this investigation falls on those 2 agencies.
The code is meant to keep the investigation independent so that people can trust it's done properly without any sort of bias or undue influence. But Knezevich says it kneecaps investigators by cutting off their resources.
The city now has half the manpower that we used to have in order to get these things done.
To maintain separation, the rules also say that no one from the shooter's agency will even be in the loop, except the sheriff, who will get periodic briefings.
Well, this law took away my ability to keep you informed and to really know what's going on in this investigation.
But there are provisions explicitly for keeping the public informed. For instance, the team leader has to provide an update once per week, even if there's no new info. But what seemed to frustrate Knezevich the most, a provision that says they can't even share equipment.
Let's say they needed our drone today. which they did. Technically, they're not supposed to use anything, any piece of equipment that we own. That's just ridiculous.
The team is only allowed to use such equipment if absolutely necessary, and the non-police advisors have to be notified it's happening. This part of the code seems to be designed to prevent holes in that information firewall. Basically, the idea is that if the agency provides a specialized tool, they'll want to send the operator with it. That would compromise the independence. Under this law, the tool can only be shared if there's a guarantee that doesn't happen.
People don't realize how bad this law has affected our ability to do our jobs.
Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
5:40 now. Well, this morning we are seeing a break in the snow, but we are still feeling the bitter cold temperatures. After the break, Evan Arani tells us what you need to know for your morning commute. And Silver Mountain is closed today, giving employees time to recuperate from last week's deadly avalanche. In the next half hour, we have new information on that investigation.